And we're going to use, this is a great dish because you can use anything that you have growing, anything, even leftover vegetables that you have in the fridge. It's a great way to use up, peppers, onions. I'm using 2 ingredients. I have zucchini and I have onion. And it makes a beautiful egg dish that is perfect for picnics because it's just as tasty cold as it is hot. So you can make it ahead of time, put it in the fridge, and then when you're going out to your picnic, you pack it up, keep it in the cooler, and you're good to go. Which brings us, while I cut this up, it's going to bring us to our next 2 sort of food safety points. So the first one is cook. So cook, we want to make sure that we're cooking our food to the safe internal temperature. This applies mainly to the animal products that we were talking about.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Oh, I was just going to say, when you're cooking your food, you want to make sure, in this case, it's going to be even because it's an egg dish and it's going to spread out. Mm-hmm. But if you're doing something like meat, where there's variable thickness, you want to make sure, if you're taking the temperature of the food, to take it in the thickest part of the meat, because that's the one that's going to take the longest time to get to the safe food temperature. So that's important to know, right? If you take it at the thinnest part of the meat, you may be missing the fact that actually the thicker part isn't cooked yet.
Mm-hmm. And that goes with a dish like this too. Egg dishes, you have to reach a certain internal temperature. It's about 165 degrees Fahrenheit. And the best way to tell, because unless you have some magic powers, you can tell the heat of food, grab one of these. This is a food thermometer. This is great in the kitchen. It's also very useful for outdoors. So if you are picnicking, if you're camping as well, and maybe it's the next day and you're not too sure how long that steak has been sitting, outside, or when you're cooking something, always bring a food thermometer and clean it and sanitize it in between each use, which is very important.
Yes, you don't want to check something that isn't cooked yet and then take that, check something that is cooked and say, oh, now this one's fine, but you've just stuck the raw meat basically into the cooked meat. So you don't want to create an illusion that something's done, but you've really just contaminated it.
So to start with this frittata, I have a medium pan, just a little bit, this is just light olive oil, so I can heat it to about a medium. You can use, again, grapeseed oil as well, which has a higher smoking point there. And we're just gonna cook it just until soft. I cut them pretty thin so that it cooks a little bit faster. I wanna get a little bit of color on this as well. So that's it, zucchini, onion. We'll give it a little pinch of salt. And then, Susan, I'll get you to start cracking eggs. Putting you to work again.
I'm up for it. I can't do it one-handed.
No?
No.
That's all right. I can do it. All right. So for this dish, we're using 6 eggs. Frittata is usually a little thicker than your regular omelets. Your omelet, you might use like 3 eggs. This is gonna be a little bit thicker. So 1 full frittata, you can actually do about 4 servings in that. It also means you gotta cook it a little bit longer as well to make sure that you get the right internal temperature. Now, if you're packing this up for your picnic, any dish or meal you're packing up for your picnic, you want to make sure that you chill it well and that it is in a safe temperature. So the danger zone is something that we talk about often in this class. Does anyone know what the danger zone is? It's from Top Gun as well, Top Gun fans. But it also refers to the prime temperature where bacteria loves to party and bacteria loves to grow. So the danger zone, and I marked it on there so just in case you do forget, but it is in between 4 degrees Celsius and 60 degrees Celsius. Now those are pretty significant numbers. 4 degrees Celsius, what's your, I was gonna leak it, but what's your refrigerator minimum? Default is 4 degrees Celsius, right? So 4 degrees Celsius or less, which is what you should be chilling your food, storing your food at. Even if you're going out for picnic, for camping, make sure that you can even use your food thermometer, but make sure your cooler is 4 degrees or less. That's a safe temperature. Doesn't mean you're not killing any bacteria, but it's not, or slowing down the rate that it's growing. And this is really important too. Actually, I'm going to add the eggs, and then we're going to continue talking. It's especially important for when you are eating outside, for when you're camping, when you're picnicking, to know the temperature of your food and any of the, oh yeah, perfect. Any of the coolers that you do bring.
Can you repeat the temperature again? You said
Yes, so the danger zone is Celsius. So 4 degrees Celsius to 60 degrees Celsius. So 4 to 60. There's another zone inside that danger zone that they've creatively named the super danger zone, which is between 21 degrees Celsius and 47 degrees Celsius. Now, why is that a significant number if you're eating outside? That's a nice hot summer day, right? 21 to 40, well, 47 is like a really, really hot day.
Really hot day.
When you're outside, you're in that super danger zone, which means that that bacteria, if you have food sitting out, it's going to be growing even faster. So it's something you want to keep in mind. The usual recommendation, if you're inside, is to not have any animal products, especially, out for more than 2 hours. But outside, you want to make sure you minimize that even less.
Yeah, I would say 1 hour.
1 hour, yes.
1 hour. And another thing is, okay, besides, yeah, okay,
Yo, keep
sorry.
going, keep going.
Didn't know you had to
Yeah,
do
so
something there.
I just poured the eggs in. I'm going to give it just a little bit of a stir, just once or twice, just to create these sort of ripples and waves and make sure that we're cooking that egg thoroughly. But otherwise, that's it. I'm going to give it about a minute, like 60 seconds just to cook the underneath. Now, typically a frittata, you would cook the bottom on the top, and then you would transfer this into the oven. So if you have an oven-safe pan, you can put that in the oven. Otherwise, like I've got plastic on this handle, I'm not going to throw this into the oven. So I'm just going to put a lid on top, and it'll cook the top from the steam.
Oh.
I'll let you continue.
Okay. Yeah, no, I just wanted to make a point about thermometers, but I think you might have made it, that you want to clean it, right, in
Yes.
between. I think that's the main point. I just wanted to double
And make
up
sure
on that.
it's calibrated properly as well. If you had a thermometer for a while, it might not be as accurate. So the easiest way to do that is get a glass of ice water, which will always be 0. You put it in there and it should be reading 0. If it's not, then depending on your thermometer, you might have to like adjust a screw, or you might have to digitally change it to 0. But just make sure that you do that so that it's reading correctly. So I'm gonna add a little bit of herbs, again from the garden. This is one you don't find in the grocery store. It's kind of one you have to, or not in this form anyways. Does anyone know what this is? Dill. Yeah, you got it. This is like a dill flour on top. This is like fantastic in eggs. So wash everything well. Any sort of herbs would be fantastic in this. I have a little bit of our tarragon, a little bit of the dill. So we're
I
going to
can
put that
smell
over
it.
top. Really nice. And then I'm going to get a lid. Get a lid that fits, or another pan, because I can't find my lid. So anything that goes on top, it sort of creates a seal. And then do that for about another 40 seconds to 60 seconds, just until the top is nice and cooked. All right, so I'll put this aside. Can you guys smell that?
I can smell it. It's great.
So another thing, actually, picnicking, camping, especially camping because you might be out for more than one day. Susan mentioned keep one sort of cooler with your frozen, with ice, and then your meat, and then the one that you're going to be opening often, like drinks and stuff like that,
Yeah,
another cooler.
yeah.
Another great tip too is if you are there for 2 days, 3 days, freeze your meat solid. So that acts as almost the ice in the cooler. It'll keep everything cold. Make sure it's also in a plastic bag. You don't want it exposed to anything. But when it's frozen solid, that acts as the ice, and by the second day, it'll be defrosted, and then you'll be able to cook it. So the frittata is done. And again, remember, measure it with your food thermometer. And actually, I'll do it right after, because if it touches the pan, then I'm actually getting the reading of the pan. Now you can see it like this. You can serve it like this. What I like to do is actually flip it on the other side. So if you can flip it like like that, right in the pan, absolutely go for it. Another easier way is just to take a plate that's obviously larger than your pan. If it's not curved, that helps, but I don't have a curve.
Stand back.
Yes, and all you gotta do is just one quick motion and then flip over top. And then there you go. There's your frittata. Yeah. And the way I like to serve it is a little bit of fresh ricotta cheese right in the middle. And you can do this again right as soon as you serve it. Put this right in the middle on top. But it adds a beautiful color to the dish. And that's it. So that's our garden frittata.